Going to review the things on the hand, but right now, before we do that, I'm going to stand and say, will you please say pledge of allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right, we've got 3 items on the agenda tonight. We're also going to do some administrative things like review or approve our meeting minutes from the last meeting. So I will be asking the folks on the board to do that right now while I go on with the rest of this. The rest of this, the way it will go is we will take the items as they are numbered, 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 items on our board tonight. I'm going to ask the person who is making the application to please come up to the board, tell us who you are, and then explain to us what it is you would like and what relief you would be looking for. When you're done with that, the board can ask you questions. We can then close that portion. I will then ask if anybody from the general public wants to make a speech for or against this. Either way, just tell us who you are, go up there and speak for or against it. At the end of that, then, what I will do is I will ask the board to consider the seeker review. Is this a significant environmental quality review or something like that, whatever that stands for. But what we really want to make sure of is that it fits the right area and we've addressed those issues. We get that motion, we'll pass that motion, then we'll open it up to the board to make a motion to pass or not pass, or administratively set aside the item. Anyone have any questions on how that will turn? Very good then. All right, now to the board. Have you had a chance to review the meeting minutes from our last meeting? And do we have a motion to either accept them as written or make any comments to correct them as they are?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, November 21st minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. The meeting minutes from the last meeting are approved. All right, first up on our agenda tonight is the matter of Judy Colombo, owner of 37 Martin Street, having tax ID number 080.05-1-34. The applicant seeks to install a driveway in the front yard of the house. The house is at 37 Martin. Pursuant to Village Code 175-53H, the applicant proposes to build a 1-car driveway where the driveways are prohibited, and that's in the front yard in front of the house. The applicant therefore seeks relief from the current zoning for the variance for a driveway in the front yard of the house. The property is zone G1, that's general industry, and it was tabled at our November 21st meeting and held until tonight. Is the applicant here?
I would suggest you go to the number 1, where we know the applicants here, and see if the other applicants show up.
All right, we will give them until the end of the meeting to see if they show up, but we are going to try and take an action on this tonight, which is where I am. Number 2, scheduled matter. BME Associates, on behalf of Pride Mark Homes, under contract for 44.1 acres on the southeast corner of Route 250 and State Road. The applicant seeks final relief, or final subdivision plan approval to develop section 4 of that particular piece of property of the 44.1 acres for 25 townhouse lots and units on 6.8 acres. They sent us a nice map and they sent us the information, so why don't you tell us who you are and what it is you'd like to do?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is James Kritikos. I'm with BME Associates. Also here with me is Jim Barbado with Pride Mark Homes, the owner and applicant. As you just mentioned, we are here seeking Section 4 final subdivision approval of Greenbrier Crossing, right on corner down to 250 right here. This project has been ongoing for the last 4 or so years. We received overall preliminary approval from this board back in January 21, as well as final subdivision approval and seeker connect act for the whole project in February of 21. And then we've had final section 2 was in March of 22, final section 3 was in September of 23, and as I mentioned, we're here for final section 4 now. Obviously, the project's been very successful, ongoing construction. Basically, we're pretty much completed with the balance of sections 1 and 2 from house construction. We're into section 3 roads, and I believe the houses are going to be starting soon if they already haven't. As those houses are going to be built, we're going to continue to bring in the balance of our earth that we need for section 4, as we've kind of been doing over the course of the project. Most of the fills for the overall project are in section 4, so this is the main fills that we'll be needing to make in the site. Section 4 involves about 700 more feet of road. It completes the loop on the southern end of the property. Same thing as all the other sections. We've got sidewalk on one side of the road. We've got some more streetlights that'll go in. We'll complete the water main loop, and we have a couple more sanitary sewer runs and some new catch basins for storm sewer stuff that will be installed. There's been an open notice of intent with the DEC and the SWIP that's been active for the entire project. All the stormwater controls were installed in section 1, so those are all existing today. And the clearing for the site's already been done, which we completed with section 3 activities to kind of prop the area as we've been able to obtain and bring in fill over the course of the life. Besides that, we really don't have an official start date. The construction's kind of just gonna, as it's been doing, blend right into section 4 as we work through the balance of section 3. I would say we'll probably be looking to do utilities sometime in the spring or summer this year once we're able to bring the road subbase up to grade and basically get it compacted and installed. Everything's been going very well with the town staff in terms of letter of credit approvals, working with Jake Swingley and Aaron Thompson, the code enforcement officer, and we really don't see any hiccups or troubles with this. As you mentioned, this is the last 25 lots of the overall 124 projects, so about 20% of the balance. It does involve 4 more 4-unit buildings and 3 more 3-unit buildings. Buildings are exactly the same as what's been constructed on site today. Besides that, we don't really have anything else. But I'm happy to answer any questions. Just for reference, this is the section we're talking about, the area that's a little bit darker than the rest on this graphic here.
Question for me, this is curiosity. Is there anything else that needs to be built that you're gonna need this board to approve?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Second thing, this is a curiosity question. If the roof catches on fire or leaks, who's responsible for it?
Well, they are individual lots that will be sold to individual homeowners, so it'll be their responsibility to fix that. I believe until that time, if there's something going on, obviously Pridemark is the owner of them today and would be fixing them.
Does that say the same if it's a leak?
Yes, once they are turned over to the homeowner.
And I'm just curious.
They're
Yeah,
townhouses, they're townhouses, they're not condominiums.
I get that, but they are also connected and the roof is
But
connected
you
across
have- you
all
have
of them.
Even though the buildings are connected, you still have a distinct lot upon which your townhouse is constructed, just like your single-family house that isn't attached to your neighbors. But you're responsible for the roof, you're responsible for everything. It's your house. Unlike a condominium, where you just actually only own the interior, and the entire exterior is managed by a homeowners association.
With that said, the HOA carries a master insurance policy for the exterior of the building, so in the case of a fire, the HOA has that insurance piece, and then the homeowners carry what's called the HO6 policy for their individual home. As Don said, that they have property lines and they own the land that they sit on, so it's their individual home, even though they're connected.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
I just had one question. So, what was it, like 2 years ago, whenever it was that the entire site plan and subdivision was approved by this board for phase 4. Has there been any substantial change to phase 4 since it was originally approved?
No, not at all.
Not
The
at
design is wholly consistent with what we originally submitted and you guys reviewed at that time.
So the reason I ask is because you did the seeker environmental review with then, so you don't have to do it now because nothing's changed.
Will there be a clubhouse or community center built?
Yep, it's already constructed. It's central to this site right here.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's not going to involve any other approvals?
No,
No,
it's part of section 2 and it's built and in use by the residents.
Okay. And the question I had about the letter of credit, this was approved in '22?
The final section 1 was 21, section 2 was 22, section 3 was 23.
Now, a letter of credit, you won't need a letter of credit, and Don, you may know this, for each phase, correct? For the entire
No,
project?
We will have a new letter of credit based on the public
Yeah.
utilities and
Okay.
you know, the roads and the things that we've been doing before.
Yeah, they've been submitting letters of credit in phase, for each phase.
Okay, yeah, that was my
So,
question.
and the village board, I'm sure you'll submit it soon, and the village board will consider, well, first the amount, I think it's this board approves the amount, and then the village board approves the form of the letter of credit.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions from anybody on the board?
Occupancy obviously must be good.
It's great. We're completely sold out in section 1. Obviously, with section 1's full. Section 2 is sold out with a few left to close. Section 3 is at 65% sold, and we're already out of end units in section 3. So we'll get our amendment with the HOA, which will include section 4 in May, and sometime after that in the summer we'll release the sales for section 4. But they're selling very quickly, and it's basically as fast as we build them for a season. So we'll probably close high 20s, close to 30 of them in 2025.
Very good. Very good.
Now, when I was on the board, the planning board, when this was a conceptual plan,
Yeah,
and the prices were in the low 300s.
yeah, that was pre-COVID. That was the beginning of it.
Yeah, so they've obviously come up.
Yeah,
What's
so-
the max, min-max on that?
So the center units now start at 430, and we have people going up into the upper mid sixes at this point. So
Okay, so it has increased a bit.
yeah, and that's unusual. I mean, typical price is somewhere in that 500 range.
Yeah, okay.
Other questions from anybody on the board?
Yeah, I'm just curious, has the village had any problems with water, drainage, any site issues since the conception of the project? Because I remember many people fighting this project saying, oh, it's going to exacerbate all the water problems. And to my knowledge, all the water problems have been solved and rectified.
You're asking me, I'm unaware of any.
I'm just curious.
Chris hasn't been here that long.
I know, but
But
has
I'm
anyone,
sure I
has
have
anyone
heard-
complained?
I have not been aware of any complaints.
We have not heard one complaint, and I know that the folks that would be to the east of us had all the drainage and water going through their property, and we built our large pond and put in our storm sewer and ran the long pipe down that back easement there, and I think we've solved everyone's water issues in the area.
They basically diverted all that runoff away from that property.
Right.
And we take a lot of water that comes right under the road through a pipe that was just, I don't know, thinking an easement, just kind of random shooting onto the property, and we've managed that too.
I remember the water was a big issue and the lighting. It's going to be detrimental to the property owners on State Road and 250.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone here in any violent disagreement with that. There are no lighting issues.
Our biggest challenge with lighting is getting RG&E to energize it for us. So besides that, the lighting's great when we can get them to turn it on.
Yeah, I drove it to at night, I mean, it looks wonderful.
Thank you.
Pedestrian access to it from, not so much 250, but State Road. Would there be a crosswalk?
So we built in section 1 a sidewalk from the entrance that comes down and attaches to Lincolnshire there.
Yeah.
I don't believe we did any crosswalks there or
I
anything
don't
like
know if
that.
you need one,
No, that would be the only connection. Obviously, our sidewalk stops before it gets to 250. There's no
Mhm.
sidewalks there anywhere for it to be connected or extended to. So we'll just, with this section, we'll just basically finish the sidewalk for the loop, and then that'll give the residents a couple options to loop around the development if they
Yeah.
want.
but are you seeing people using the sidewalks?
Absolutely.
They are good.
Peter, the county will determine if they want to put a crosswalk in the right of way, so.
Okay,
The state road's a
Right
county
there.
road, so it's not up to the village.
Right.
all right, yeah. All right.
It's not confusing at all that state roads and county roads.
Yeah, I know.
Other questions or comments from anyone on the board?
I'm all set.
I'm
All
good.
set.
Okay, we'll close that portion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, before we move on any further, any questions or comments from anyone from the general public on this project or this approval? Darrell.
I have a question. Darrell Byridge, 36 Elm Street. Having 4 units under one roof, if there is a leak and water runs, not under, let's say, the second unit in, but it runs underneath the roof or runs to the third unit in, whose responsibility is that? Do you have any prior, cases like that?
No, in all the years we've been building townhouses like this, we really haven't had a leak issue that's come from one part of the roof and gone to the other. But as I mentioned, that the HOA takes care of the roof with that master insurance policy. So that typically they're going to work on that. If any significant damage has to fall under with that insurance policy. But it's never been an issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other questions from anyone in the general public? Okay, let the record indicate there was no one else up there. As we do not need a seeker approval or seeker designation, we're not gonna deal with that one right now because that's already been done. So what I have is the board has in front of them this project. What I'm looking for and is a motion to approve or disapprove or deny.
I'll make a motion to approve final section number 4 that contains 25 townhouse units on 6.88 acres.
Okay, we've got a motion on the table to approve the applicant's final subdivision plan.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just for the record, we have a third one. And I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that name, for the new tenant of 1 to 3 Main Street. The applicant seeks preliminary and final site plan approval for a change of use of the portion of the first floor from a business occupancy classification to a mercantile occupancy classification pursuant to Village Code 175-22B and 175-40B. The applicant also seeks relief or variance or relief of the parking spaces where the number of spaces is required, which is 1 for 250 square feet, so roughly 5 would be required here. Let the record also indicate that we do not have anyone here to present this. Let the record also indicate that our first applicant did not.
So with respect to Mr. Alsady, if that's how you pronounce it, Chris did contact him, and he's in Florida tonight.
Oh,
And he asked if you could move his application to tomorrow night, which isn't gonna happen. So, as a favor to him, you could table it, and he can come back next month. Or you could deny it, but then he's gotta pay the fee all over again, and, you know, my suggestion, since we at least heard from him, one way or the other, and I don't know why he is in Florida instead of here, because he obviously was told it's a Thursday, January 16th, but my recommendation would be to table it till next month.
I move that we table it.
We have a motion on the floor to table this motion until next month, which would be the 20th of February, I believe.
I'll second that.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
And Karen,
Very good.
Karen, will you notify him?
Yeah, we'll do extra letters in writing.
Yeah, I would send him something in writing, so you have a record of it. Now, the first one,
Do we need to motion that to table it the next month,
for the what?
the first one?
No, I'd
The
actually
first
say
one,
no.
the first one, I would probably have a different recommendation. You know, this was already tabled once. Karen, we've got a copy of an email exchange between Ms. Colombo and our deputy clerk, where she was specifically told the date and time of the meeting, and yet she's still not here.
And they were in last week in person to discuss with us, and we're giving them
So-
information, so I'm not sure why they're not here.
Is there anything that prohibits us from taking an action on this motion?
You could, she's gotta be here, you could deny it simply on that basis, that they didn't show up.
And if it's denied, what
You
happens?
could deny it without prejudice, and if she wants to reapply, she can reapply and submit a whole new application with a fee and all that.
Okay, do we have anybody on the board willing to make that motion?
Yes. I will make a motion to deny the applicant's request for a variance for installation of a driveway in the front yard of the house, contrary to Village Code 175-53H.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to deny, or we have a motion on the table to deny this application.
I'll second.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And I just have the record reflect that at this point, the denial is based on the applicant's non-appearance. Okay, so it is without prejudice that if she wants to reapply, she can reapply.
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of sped things up for tonight's meeting.
Okay, so also moving on then, we do have a meeting scheduled for the 20th of February? Is that's February 20th, and there already are a couple of things looking for being on the agenda there, so I would say that, we don't have it all yet, but I would expect us to have a meeting. Second thing in the minutes is I would like to thank both of our alternates for number one, being here regularly as they normally are, and for participating in the action and the meeting. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Pleasure.
All right, last thing we need then is a motion to adjourn.
I will make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good.